We're finally at the end of the 2019-2020 season, and our league performance this season has been the poorest for over 2 decades. But there was some light at the end of the tunnel, capping off the season with that brilliant victory in the FA Cup. So I thought I'd do a player and manager ratings for the season. Bernd Leno gets a 9 for me. He's had a brilliant season up until he got injured. Playing behind a poor defence, he had to make crucial saves in almost every single game. A really confident goalkeeper, and he was really unlucky to get injured in that Brighton game. Martinez gets 8 from me. He was thrown in at the deep end after Leno got injured, and he's been absolutely phenomenal since coming in. After 10 years at the club, he's got his chance and he's grabbed it, and he's really in contention for being that number 1 for the start of next season. Callum Chambers gets a 5 from me. He started the season looking quite good, but then after that he was taken in and out of the team by Unai Emery. He played as a centre back and as a right back at times, but under Arteta he's hardly featured. Unfortunately, he got injured and he hasn't had a chance to impress. I've given Rob Holding 5.5. He hasn't had much game time this season, mostly due to injuries, but when he has been in the team, his form has been up and down. He's had a decent run in the last couple of weeks, but next season he really needs to kick on if he wants to establish himself in this team. Cedric Soares gets 5 from me. He joined us in January on loan, injured, and he didn't really feature for us for a very long time. But when he did come in the first couple of games, he did look quite good. But since then, his performances have been quite average. He's signed a permanent deal with us for 5 years, so let's see what he brings next year. Pablo Mari also gets a 5 from me. He's another player that we signed on loan in January, and he hasn't had too much game time also, but when he's been in the team, he's looked quite good at the back, really good on the ball. But unfortunately he picked up that injury immediately after the restart, so the jury is out on him also. 6.5 for Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Starting the season playing as a right back under Unai Emery. He was doing okay back there, but he said he didn't want to play there, and then when Arteta came in, he was taken out of the team for a while. But he's got his act together, he's back in the team, and he's looked really good the last couple of games. Kieran Tierney gets an 8. We signed him last summer from Celtic. He came in injured initially, but when he did get into the team, he really impressed on the left back. But after that, unfortunately, he picked up that shoulder injury and he missed much of the season. But the last couple of months, he's been one of our best players. Shkodran Mustafi gets a 6 from me. He started off the season under Unai Emery, playing only in the Europa League and the League Cup games. He didn't look too bad in those games, to be honest. Freddie Ljungberg initially brought him back into the Premier League team, and since he's come back, he's been up and down. He's had some good games, but he's prone to those errors. Sead Kolasinac gets a 4. He was out of the team at the beginning of the season because of that robbery incident, but since he's come in, I think he's been pretty poor. He's had his injury problems, but he's also had plenty of game time. 1 or 2 good performances in there, but on the whole, he's been below average. I've given Socrates a 5. He was part of the failing and dysfunctional defence in the first half of the season under Unai Emery. He's been a good defender, but you can sense it's coming to an end. He hasn't featured at all since the restart of the Premier League until that late cameo in the FA Cup final, probably the last time we see him. Hector Bellerin, he gets 5. Yet another player with an injury-ravaged season. It's difficult to give him a rating, so that's why I've gone with the 5. Initially, when he came back from the injury, he did look quite poor, but the last few games he's looked quite good, and hopefully we can get the best of Bellerin next season. David Luiz gets 5.5. What a roller coaster season he's had. Red cards and penalties conceded aplenty. We knew what kind of defender we were getting, but he has also put in some really good performances, and his response to that Etihad game has been phenomenal. Bukayo Saka gets 8.5, one of our best players this season, and he's only 18 years old. He's got double figures for assists. That's incredible for his breakthrough season, and not to mention he played as a left back for much of the season. He's an incredible talent and the future is really bright. Joe Willock gets a 5. He's a player that I've got a lot of time for. I think he's got some real potential there. He started the season off quite brightly, but he's faded off badly since, and he's failed to establish himself in the team. He did bag a few goals though, and next season is a really big season for him. Matteo Guendouzi gets a 4.5 from me. I feel he's been average for most of the season. There has been a few standout performances from him, and his fight and character is not questionable, but he's massively overrated in my opinion, and he's probably going to be gone in the summer. Lucas Torreira gets 4. Unai Emery at the beginning of the season was playing him out of position, playing him as a number 10, and he hasn't had a real run in the team. Injuries have savaged his season also, and he's not really been able to reproduce the form from last season. Granit Xhaka gets 6.5. He's had an up and down season. He was our captain for the first half of the season under Unai Emery, but his performances were really ineffective. And then he had that incident against Palace, but since he's been brought back into the team by Arteta, his performances have been excellent. I'm giving Mesut Ozil a 2. Why is he not playing? In the beginning of the season he got dropped by Unai Emery and then brought back in when he was under pressure. Mikel Arteta comes in and he was playing under him and he was looking good, but then he was dropped since the restart of the Premier League and we haven't seen him at all. I don't know what's going on there. Gabriel Martinelli gets an 8 from me. He's one of the few shining lights from the Unai Emery era. He got some great goals early on in the season in the Europa League and also in the League Cup. But then when he was asked to stand in for the suspended AUBAMEYANG, he didn't disappoint. Unfortunately, he got injured and he hasn't featured since the restart. Nicolas Pepe gets a 7. Our record signing last summer, he struggled to adapt to the Premier League initially, but when he did get going, he scored some stunning goals and got some really important assists. He's got a big price tag to live up to, but he finished the season with a man of the match performance in the FA Cup final. Reiss Nelson gets a 5. He's another player with bags of talent, but he hasn't been able to push on like some of the other youngsters. When he has been in the team, he's been mostly average, but in the last couple of weeks he's put in a couple of good performances, and he's another player that's got a big season ahead next season. Eddie Nketiah gets 5.5. He was on loan for the first half of the season but brought back in January. He's a player that Arteta seems to really like. He's given him a lot of game time. I feel he still needs to develop a lot, but he did get himself a few good goals. Lacazette gets a 6 from me. He's our player of the year from last season, but this year he's not got enough goals. He did get some big goals in some big games, but we need more from him. He's a player that always works hard and his hold-up play is excellent. Next season we need more from you, Laka. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang gets 9.5. Goals galore again this season. Unfortunately, he narrowly missed out on the golden boot, but his goals saved us from a relegation battle this season, and he was also our FA Cup hero. Those 2 goals in the FA Cup final are player of the season. I'm giving Mikel Arteta 8.5. He came in at a really difficult time, and just as he seemed to have got the team going, the whole pandemic happened. He got the virus himself. The season was suspended, but since the restart he's been really impressive, and finishing your first 6 months as a manager with the FA Cup is absolutely incredible. Let me know down below in the comments your ratings for the season. Remember to hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up wherever you are in the world. Stay safe and stay gooned.